We'll now move on to the San Francisco 49ers. Their schedule looks like this, featuring 4 primetime games, including that nice little week 4 matchup on Monday Night Football against the defending Super Bowl champions, the Los Angeles Rams, and a rematch of the NFC Championship game. Aaron, I'm going to start with you here on this, with the storylines and what you're looking forward to with this San Francisco 49ers season, because if I remember correctly, we were low on our power rankings for the Niners. So now we're looking at the schedule. We said we were going to look at it all and factor in where we have these teams in our power rankings and moving forward, what it is moving forward. What's your storyline? What do you think about the Niners schedule?
Yeah, I think they have a tough schedule. I think actually they get off to a really good start this year. But the biggest storyline is Trey Lance the guy, right? Does Trey Lance come out and have immediate impact? I think it's nice to be able to come in and start off with 2 teams that we have ranked near the bottom in Chicago and Seattle. You get Chicago in September before it gets really, really cold there. The weather's not a huge factor in Chicago at this time. So you get that advantage before you start to go play some of those good teams. If you look at the first 6 weeks of the season, the only tough teams there are really like the Rams, and then maybe you get Denver at Denver. Other than that, I think they can win those games against Chicago, Atlanta, Carolina, and Seattle. So I think they got off to a hot start with a young quarterback, build some confidence. But is he going to be able to? Is he built to last through the middle part of that season when the games start meaning more and they start playing teams that are fighting for playoff position? I think that's when you're going to see him start to struggle a little bit. And that's when their season's probably going to start to take a turn. But can he just show that growth for them to know that they gave up the right amount to get their franchise quarterback with the number 3 overall pick?
And that is a storyline. I mean, my thoughts are the same thing around the 49ers. Despite all the Deebo Samuel talk this year, it seems like they have at least started to patch things up well enough. The question becomes about the Trey Lance era. I mean, it has to be time. We know they've been trying to trade Jimmy G. That hasn't happened. They traded their first-round pick in last year's draft, this year's draft, and next year's draft to move up to number 3 to get him. You can't just let him sit back and take another year off. This isn't a Jordan Love situation or anything like that. It's not even a move up to get Pat Mahomes situation, really. Well, maybe closer. But either way, and the talk around Trey Lance is that he's not ready. The fact of the matter is you're not going to know until he gets out there and plays the game, because it's one thing to not be ready and you're playing these guys in practice and that's all you're seeing, but your instincts kick in differently when you're under real duress and real danger. Those guys in practice are only allowed to hurt you so much. When you get out on that field and you know it's life or death, the movements you make, the throws you make, the decisions you decide to make are going to matter tenfold. So it's time for him to get on the field and show us what he is capable of in the NFL. And whether he's ready or not, you have to know that before you can move on with your franchise and talk Super Bowl again.
Dylan Kern, San Francisco Chronicles. When I wrote this headline, I sat here and I said, you know what? Did the offseason moves hold back the 49ers? That's my headline here. And I guess he signed Charvarius Ward. That's nice. You need cornerback help. Outside of that, a little Ray McLeod. Ugh. And the rest of that offseason moves weren't the best. And then you followed up with one of the worst drafts we've seen from the Shanahan era. No, the worst draft we've seen from the Kyle Shanahan era, and one of the worst drafts we've seen by an organization in a long time. I mean, that's huge. This is a tough division. I know the conference isn't great. You might be able to win a couple non-division games. Yeah, nice. Thanks. Perfect. Pop that puppy up there, and you look at the teams they play. I mean, the NFC's pretty weak, right? And the 49ers are a team that, sure, yes, they were in a great spot last year. We also saw them a year after great success sort of decline. And Jimmy Garoppolo's a little bit questionable right now. He's coming back from injury. They tried moving him, as AJ said, couldn't get that done and haven't yet. So Trey Lance is going to have to come in, and there's people on their beat that say that he's still far from being ready. So, I mean, the 49ers are in a tough spot right now. Their offseason did not help them. So, once again, my headline is, how much did it hold them back?
Yeah, that Trey Lance thing, that rumor popped up in the rumor mill on Twitter the other day of how he's not – he hasn't looked ready. And I'm like thinking to myself, and Aaron, maybe you can shed some light in this. Like, this is like OTA. Like, how much stock should we be putting into these types of reports? I mean, like, it just started.
So stupid.
Like,
it's so
like,
stupid.
We'll talk about the Geno Smith stuff in a second too. But like these reports, like, I'm like, it's so early. How could you be making these assessments? Like, it just doesn't make sense.
I will tell you, part of it is there are many, many people within the 49ers organization, within the Bay Area media team. They love Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm not saying they're doing this on purpose, but I believe there's some slander towards Trey Lance. This started last year about him not being ready, him maybe not looking the part, because people in that organization, people around that organization, they love Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, people defend Jimmy Garoppolo in that organization. I think it's a little bit of that. Not people don't feel like Jimmy was given the credit that he deserves in taking them to a Super Bowl and an NFC Championship game. Look, it doesn't matter. At this point, if you're a 49ers fan or a beat writer or part of that organization, the change of the guard is coming no matter what, because they invested so much in him. Why not be on board? I listen to the players. George Kittle's been coming out many times saying, dude, this dude is talented. Like, his arm talent is just significant. He can do these things on the football field. Those are the guys that I'm listening to. And they love Jimmy too, but they know that the upside of a Trey Lance far outweighs the upside of a Jimmy Garoppolo. And maybe he's not polished, but we all know you can't be polished in May. You got to wait until you're on the football field in September, October, and you actually play real football games. So when he gets that experience, he'll have some growing pains, but he'll be fine. To say that now is just, to me, it's stupid. It's stupid.
I want to retract something I said during my soliloquy, because I was talking fast. I was moving with it. I said this wasn't very much like a Patrick Mahomes situation, and I've said multiple times before that it was. And you kind of reminded me something about that. If you recall, when Pat Mahomes was sitting on the bench and they were talking about the next season, this was the same thought process. It was a tight end, Travis Kelce, talking about how Patrick Mahomes was a dude. And Alex Smith is one of their favorite people. They love him to death. But what Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to come in and do behind center is just different. And I'm not saying Trey Lance is Patrick Mahomes, but we've seen some of the things he can do. Even the 2 games he did play, this kid has some talent, and it's different than what Jimmy Garoppolo is going to do. What the problem with Jimmy is, they say you sometimes need your quarterback to just not lose you the game. And maybe that's the best thing he does, but he doesn't go out and win you the game. And they're hoping the talent and the athleticism and the instincts of Trey Lance could be that difference.
This is how we have the NFC West shaken up for the San Francisco 49ers. Similar to the Cardinals, these two teams kind of just neck and neck right there. I will tell you this. I had a hard time figuring out where I wanted to put these wins and losses for the San Francisco 49ers, but we'll talk about that as we get closer to the season.